Should we talk about some success stories? Should we talk about, Juan Pablo mentioned some, but let's share some success stories that we've seen over the years through this work. Cynthia, would you like to start?
Sure. I think one important thing that I do want to make this, I do want to make this point, is how important it is to have a good relationship with your therapist. It's finding that person that you really feel comfortable talking to, because you're going to share stuff with that person, that you're going to trust that person. One really great thing about the therapist is that they're totally objective, and your friends are going to tell you sometimes what you want to hear. And a therapist isn't going to necessarily do that. They might challenge you sometimes, and a therapist can do that because they're objective. But it really helps to have that person that you really feel comfortable with. So I think that's important too, is to find that person. But anyway, that was one more point that I wanted to make. A success story. I love this story. I recently heard about this person that we were serving, and he said that I could share his story. And he was a guy that has been successful in his job for many, many years. He did well, but throughout many years, he was depressed. Mm-hmm. And he would go to work every morning, and come home, take a nap, get up, eat dinner, go back to sleep, and do it all over again. And that was his world for a long time. He was very isolated, though he had a very supportive family. But that was what he did. And he did that again. This was over 20 years that's how he lived his life. But it continued to get worse. He had a really supportive boss, as well as not just a supportive family, he had a supportive boss, worked with him. But at one point he just thought, you know what, this isn't how I want to live. Mm-hmm. And went to a parking ramp, put his legs over the parking ramp, and thought, this is it. He said before he did that, he had actually in his car made a diagram of how he was going to do that. And then for some reason, he put his legs back, and someone apparently had seen him. Police came, took him to the hospital. That was a really wonderful experience for him in the hospital. They were super supportive. And after that, he realized, this isn't working for me anymore. He quit his job and really then just put himself into, what can I do to get the support that I need? And he continued with therapy, medication. Now he gets support services, and he's now doing really well. He's back to working, and he's living life. He's happy. And I just think, he's still taking medication and doing everything. He's working what he needs to do. But I loved that story, because someone that appeared, he's got a job, he's paying his bill, he's doing everything he needs to do, but still wasn't happy. And that wasn't how he wanted to live. And I just thought, gosh, here's somebody that was able to turn it around and is living a good life right now.
That's a great story. As Susanna said, gives us hope. Juan Pablo, have you got a story you'd like to share?
Yeah, sure. So I have this client that was waiting for, as I said, 2-3 months to be seen. So she finally got to come and be seen by me, and she was very depressed and anxious, and like chronically, and so we were able to start looking at different experiences, trauma history, and processing those traumas, grief, like she was trying to resuscitate the father of her fiance, and couldn't. So, very hard experience for her. She cared about that guy a lot. And also she was a victim of rape, and her boyfriend, that later on was the fiance, that then got never married, but was just very abusive. And so she really wanted to kill herself, like very suicidal. So definitely, she naturally found a way out by going to the hospital, falling down from her apartment. and some broken bones, things like that. But that experience really got her parents' attention, and she was able to go and went to live with her parents and start therapy. So at this point, definitely she is looking back to her life and seeing that is past, and she can live a very different life. Now she's helping as a assistant teacher. One of the worst behavior, like kids in in the school, and she's been very successful because she was able to connect with that one, you know. So it's amazing to see how people can transform their lives when they heal, and they can do much better. So definitely very happy to see that transformation.
It's another great story. The greatest honor is I get to lead the organization that saved my life. I wear this pin around and people see it and they're like, YSS. And I can tell when they start the conversation that they have been impacted by services. A guy at the shop where I was getting my car worked on just this week picked me up to give me a ride home. He's like, hey, what's going on at YSS? And I'm like, well, you know about YSS? He said, well, I was there when I was a kid. And he went on to share his success story. So I love the alums that have participated in our programs. I'm grateful to each of you for the steadfast support that you're providing the community.